Hello there. It's me again, Irene, and we're back for another in our series, our second series of beginner guitar lessons. This one is the third, and today we're going to learn a new strum. And I know it might feel early to be learning a new strum, but actually, without doing too many, of course, it's good to learn different strum patterns early on when you're first learning to play. And that is because, I think I've mentioned this before, because a lot of people get kind of stuck on one strum pattern and then they never kind of get beyond that. And it can be really a lot more difficult over time to get out of that rut and learn another type of strum. So we are going to learn a strum today that is meant for a slow song or a ballad. And we're going to do it with the song Let It Be by the Beatles. You can find both Let It Be and the strum pattern on my website. The link is below. And first thing I'm going to do is show you what it looks like. So it's kind of like this. Well, it's not kind of like this. It is like this. So you'll notice that there are a lot more strums in this than there have been in the previous two strum patterns we've done. That's because it's broken up into what we call sixteenths. We actually move 16 times within a measure. However, it's a lot slower, and we also space it out a little differently. You can see here there's 3 up, down, ups there and 3 here. So it's spaced out quite a bit differently than the other two, where you only miss 1. So what we're going to do is I'm going to keep this up. You can write it down if you need to right now, or, well, we'll just play it. I think that's what we'll do first. So we're not going to play any chords, obviously. We're just going to do the strum. I'm going to do it, and if we're playing it kind of closer to its tempo, it sounds like this. 1, 2, and a 3, 4, and a 1, 2, and a 3, 4, and a... So it's meant to be, like I said, for a slower song, but we're going to do it even slower than that, just so you get used to the strum pattern first. So let's start out. I'm going to count us in. This time I count a little differently. So I'll count 4, E, and a 1, like that. Okay? So 4, E, and a 1, up, down, up. 2, E, and a 3, up, down, up. 4, E, and a. So we're going to try that again. Okay, 4, E, and a 1, up, down, up. 2, E, and a 3, up, down, up. 4, E, and a. Now, if you're doing okay with that, let's keep going. If not, go back and practice it a few times with the video. But this time we're going to do 2 in a row. So we're going to do it twice, just to get used to. What's difficult about this strum for most people in the beginning is the fact that it's hard to know where one pattern ends and the other begins because it's so long. So we're going to try to do 2 of them in a row now. 4, E, and a 1, up, down, up. 2, E, and a 3, up, down, up. 4, E, and then we start again. 1, up, down, up. 2, E, and a 3, up, down, up. 4, E, and a. So when you're playing this with just one chord, it takes quite a while to do that entire pattern. But what we're going to do is we're going to work with the first 4 chords in the song Let It Be. And those 4 chords are G, D, E minor, and C. If you have the song in front of you, you can see that. Those are the first 2 lines in the song. So now what actually happens in the song is that there's 2 chords per measure. So that strum pattern is going to be broken up by a chord change in the middle. But we're going to start off with doing a full strum pattern for each of those 4 chords. So we start with G, then D, then E minor, and our favorite, C. So let's go back to G. I'll count us in. 4 E and a 1, 2 E and a 3, 4 E. Then we go to D, 1, 2 E and a 3, 4 E. Then we go to E minor, 1, 2 E and a 3, 4. Then to C. Here we go. 1, 2 E and a 3, 4 E and a. Now, if you need to, stop the video and play that through one more time, or maybe a few times, however many times you need to. Remember, I can't see you, obviously, so I can't tell you how fast or how slow you need to go. You have to sort of judge that for yourself. Now, in the actual song, I've got it broken up here. You can see the strum pattern, and you can see that the G and the D, actually, the G starts the pattern out, but we change to D halfway through, so we're at the 3 when we change to D. And the same thing happens for the E minor and the C. So again, you can write this down if you need to. Pause the video and write it down, just so you get a sense of where it's broken up. Or you can write it on the printed sheet if you've printed out the strum pattern, just to get a sense of where everything is. So we are first going to work with the G and the D, and we're going to try to change to the D halfway through that strum pattern. Now, some people, actually, they can hear the pattern a little bit better when it's got more chords within it, oddly enough. So that might actually be a little better for you to play. But let's go back to G. I'm going to count us in, and we're just going to go through once, G to D. Okay, so here we go. 4 E and a 1, 2 E and a 3. That's where we change. 4 E and a. So we're going to do that a couple of more times just so you get used to making that change in that spot. So back to G. Here we go. 4 E and a 1, 2 E and then D, 3, 4 E and a. So we'll try that one last time. Back to G. 4 E and a 1, 2 E and then D, 4 E and a. Now the same thing happens with the next 2 chords, going from E minor to C. Now you remember that the second finger is in the same spot for both chords, so that might help you get to the C a little bit more easily in this particular song. So we're going to do the same thing, half a measure of E minor and half of C. So back to E minor, here we go. 4 E and a 1, 2 E and a 3, 4 E and a. So let's try that again. We'll go back to the E minor. 4 E and a 1, up, down, up, 2 E and a 3, up, down, up, 4 E and a. One last time. 4 E and a 1, 2 E and a 3, 4 E and a. All right, now the next thing we want to achieve is getting all 4 chords in there. So we're going to do the G to the D to the E minor to the C. All right, so let's start with G. 4 E and a 1, down, up, 2 E and to D, 4 E and E minor, 1, down, C. 4 E and up. Let's try that one more time. So in this particular song, there's no point where we spend a whole strum pattern on just one chord. There's 2 chords in every measure in this song. Okay, so let's go back to the G, and we'll try that again. 4 E and G, 2 E, then to D, 4 E, then E minor, down, 2 E and a C, up, down, up, 4 E and up. All right, now we're going to do the same thing with the next line in the song. If you notice on Let It Be here, in the third line, we've got G to D to C to G. So that's the next thing to work on. So if you need to, write those down if you haven't got the song in front of you. But same thing, G, D, C, and back to G. Okay, here we go. 4 E and G, down, up, E and a D, 4 E and then a C, 2 E and G, G, down, up, 4 E. Let's try that once more. 4 E and a G, down, 2 E and a D, down, up, 4 E and a C, up, down, up, 2 E and a 3, up, down, up, 4 E. So it seems kind of low and laborious, slow and laborious, but if I played it up to par, just a little closer to the tempo of the song, it would sound like this. That sounds more like it, doesn't it? But we're not quite ready yet to get to that tempo. So let's do the song now. We're going to do it pretty slowly. You'll notice that we've got a little instrumental on the very bottom there, kind of playing through sort of a half a verse, and it repeats. So it's got the little repeat symbols, if you remember we talked about that before. Let's go back to the beginning, and at about that slow tempo, we're going to try to go through the whole song. So here we go. 3, 4, when I find myself, oh, it's too low, in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Yeah, it's too low or too high. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Now we're going to go down. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. When the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, they instrumental, so G, repeat it, so stay on G. D, C, G. Now we're on the second page, third chorus. Let it whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Last chorus. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And just one strum for the G. All right, so there's your latest song. It might have felt a little fast to you. If so, then go back and just work on those chord changes at a slower pace first until you can go a little bit faster and play along with the song. So there you go. That's our lesson for today. And if you have any questions or if you want to say hello, please do. I'm happy to hear from you, and we will see you next time.